Okay, so I have gone ahead and I've basically placed everything that I'm going to need for this video on my desk, and right here I have my L square shaped ruler. Now this ruler comes in handy for patterns, like it is very important, but I've also decided to show you guys if you don't have an L square ruler, because I understand that some of us don't really have these tools, so we gotta make do with what we have. Okay, so if you don't have an L square ruler, what you can do is you can essentially take one ruler and another ruler, two straight rulers, and if you put them together like this, there you have it. You have yourself an L square ruler. Anyways, so I also have a straight ruler. This is a 60 centimeter ruler, and yes guys, we will be working in centimeters. I don't particularly work in inches. In school we don't work in inches at all. Like, it's optional if you want to, but really and truly our books are usually in centimeters instead of inches. We do have one book that is inches, but we really rarely ever use it. So yeah, please bear with me. So if you're working with inches, you're probably gonna have to do the conversions yourself. But if you're working with centimeters like we usually do in South Africa, then you're at the right channel. You're going to need this ruler. This is a curve ruler. Mine is broken actually. But this helps with the shaping of the hips, the waist, as well as your arm sky. I don't know if I'm ever gonna pronounce that right, but arm sky, whatever it is, I'm gonna type it. Okay, so you're gonna need that obviously, and you're obviously going to need a pencil. I would prefer you guys work with a pencil in this tutorial, but I will be working with a marker, and that the reason being is that because I want you guys to see the work, and I do feel like the pencil is going to be light, because if I'm not mistaken, this is a 2H pencil. Don't mind the fact that it's been bitten on. Stress does that, but yeah. So this is and then I also have a pen over here, but I don't really know why I have a pen. But anyways, so one of the reasons why I'm saying work in pencil is because a pencil is thin, right? So when you draw lines in pencils, you will roughly get the right accurate measurements, while when you're working with a marker is slightly thick. So it really can make a difference in millimeters when it comes to your measurements. So you really want to get as close to your measurements as possible. But like I said, for me particularly, I'm going to be working with a marker so that you guys can see exactly what I'm going to be doing. First, right? I've got my L square ruler that I'm going to be using first. What I want to do is I want to set up a border, a perimeter for my pattern. So because this is a close fit pattern, it's really simple. I've simplified it in the best way that I possibly can. So first things first, you're just going to make a line just going straight like that, and another line just coming straight down. Now I'm going to go ahead with my marker and I'm going to do the same step. Okay, so I've got my line here and I've got my other line going down. Now it doesn't really matter how long you make these lines, because this is still the starter. Okay, so first things first, we also gonna have to label. Now I'm also going to teach you guys basic steps of labeling your pattern. Okay, so here we're gonna put 0. So this over here on the corner, that's going to be 0. Okay, that is your starting point, 0. Okay, now we are going to go to number 1. So number 1 is from 0. Now you can use any ruler for this matter. You can even use your excuse me if you can see this, you can even use this if you want to for more accurate readings, because what you find, or what you can find interesting, is that measurements from the measuring tape and your rulers can be a little bit different in terms of millimeters, I guess you could say. But I prefer working with the ruler, because I think, you know, the bigger the size the better, because then at least, you know, if you're going to sew something, it's not going to be all tied up and you're going to feel bad about it, and then, you know, whatever. So essentially, so from here we're going to go to point 1. So point 1 from 0 is 1.5 centimeters. So you're going to take your ruler from 0 and you're going to calculate 1.5 centimeters, and you just got to mark it, just a little line, and that is going to be number 1. Oh, Okay, I think my camera moved a little bit. Okay, there we go. Sorry. So from 0 to number 1, that is going to be 1.5 centimeter distance, right? Once again, this is going to be your nape. This right here, this is the back. This is the nape of your garment, okay? The back nape, right? Okay, I hope I'm making sense. I'm so sorry, guys, but I have to use the right terminology so I don't confuse you guys when we do more tutorials in the future. Okay, so now we are going to do number 2. So from 1 until 2, once again, gonna use your ruler, just making sure that you are directly at number 1. Okay, and that distance is 21.5 centimeters. So from your neck, yeah. So nape, neck, whichever one you want to work with. So from your neck, nape, till your waist, the distance is 21.5 centimeters. So I'm going to go ahead. Here is my nape, number 1. We're going to go ahead and mark out number 2. So that is 21.5. So here I've got it. I locked it, and there we go. Then I mark number 2. Now here is the trick, okay? So now you're going to take, once again, your L square. Now this is why I'm saying it's so essential for you guys to have an L square ruler, because now you're going to have to do a different type of thingy of ruling off. This one is called squaring out. So essentially what you're going to do is you're going to put your L square ruler in this direction, and then you're going to square out across, right? So you're going to square out across, and then we're just going to do this quickly. So sorry, I would like to point out that I was wrong. This is not so sorry. Wow. Okay, so this is not your waistline. I just realized the distance is just a bit too small. This is not your waistline. This is actually your arm skyline. Yeah, anyways. So you're going to square it out, right? So this is how you're going to do it. I just wanted to correct myself before we go on any further. I'm nervous, can you tell? So we're just going to go ahead. And like I said, I prefer you guys to do this in pencil. Just going to square it out like that, okay? It doesn't really matter about the distance right now. We're not focusing on that. Just square it out as far off you want to square off, okay? So this becomes number 2. Okay, now we're going to figure out how big is our pattern going to be. So the measurement of 0, because now you squared out 1, 2, we've got 1, 2, so now we have to have 3 and 4, right? So now the distance here is going to be 49 centimeters. So on your ruler, just going to go ahead and find 49. So here I've placed my 49 directly on the line number 2, right? Where number 2 is intersecting. So right here, this is where my 49 is at. And then this is where my 0 is at. So I'm going to continue squaring out over here and just join these lines together. And there I have the size of my pattern. So this size is going to be the front and the back all together. Yes, this pattern is going to be front and back. So with the same line, I'm going to go ahead and square off. Once again, from the top, square down, and square across. Sorry. So this is how your pattern should be looking like. So at this point, your pattern should look something like this. So we've got 0, 1, which is our neckline, 2, which is our arm skyline, right? And then we're going to have number 3 over here and number 4. So please note that 0 till 2 represents your back, and 3 to 4 represents your front. I know that sounds confusing, but bear with me, okay? So now we are going to add in our waist, right? So how do we go about adding in the waist? So from 1, you're going to calculate straight down right here. So from 1, going down, we are going to calculate our waist. So our waist for size 12 is, from nape to waist, it's 41 centimeters. So I'm going to go down with my ruler and I'm just going to mark over here 41 on the dot. So that becomes number 5. And then once again, we are going to square across. My body is so oily and it's just making this whole thing dirty. But anyways, so now I'm going to bring it up a little bit. So sorry, we are working with such little space. Okay, so now we're going to square across so that we have a waist for our front and our back. Okay, let me just do this. And then here I am squaring across, making sure that everything is aligned. And that marks number 6. So we're gonna write over here waist. So that way you know. You can repeat it, waist, because at some point you're probably gonna cut this pattern out. Okay? So from our waist to our hip measurement now. Now we're gonna add in our hip, okay? So let me just move this up a little bit. Working on limited space, so everything, don't mind up on it. Okay, so from our waist, we're gonna add in our hip. So we're gonna go down, and our hip is 20.6 centimeters. You guys got that? 20.6 centimeters. That becomes number 7, and from number 7, we're gonna have number 8. There we go, number 8. So now we are done with our perimeters. So now we know this is our block. This is our block that is going to have our front and our back pattern. Okay? So, don't forget to label hip. You can say hip or hip line, whichever one you're comfortable with. Okay? So there you go, I've labeled it right there, hip line. Don't mind my handwriting. I was writing at a very awkward position. Okay, so now let's go right back. We're going to finish our back. Now we're going to focus strictly on the back of our pattern, starting with our neckline. So our neckline from 0, now we're working in this direction, from 0 until our neck, right? It's going to be 7.2 centimeters. So going in there, 7.2. Now that becomes number 9. Now, here's an interesting fact. We are going to curve in our neckline. So using this French curve ruler, we are going to curve it in. But before we can do that, I just want you guys to pay attention to one specific detail. So when it comes to doing a neckline, you want to avoid doing a V, right? So from number 1, we're just going to add, just going to draw in 1 centimeter in. You see, I drew my 1 centimeter in right over here. And then using my curve ruler, just going to go ahead and just curve. So there you go. Now you've got the neckline of your back right over here. Don't look awkward, but I hope you guys can see it. Okay, now let's move on. We got number 9. Now let's go to number 10. So number 10, it's a little bit of a tricky situation, but it is 3.5 from number 1. 3.5. You're going to mark out. And then you're going to label it number 10. So from number 1 going down 3.5 centimeters. Then you're going to mark it out, and then you're going to square across like this, but not too much, just a little bit. Okay, just a little bit. I think maybe a little bit more, but try to square halfway across. Yeah, okay, something like this, and this becomes number 10. Okay, so this becomes number 10. Now we're going to find number 11. So number 11 is going to make up our shoulder length on the back of our bodice, right? So the shoulder length is going to be the actual size, or the actual length of your shoulder as a size 12 is 12.25. That we are adding a 1 centimeter, we're including a 1 centimeter into this measurement, simply because of this bodice has a dot at the back. Yeah, it has a dot. It's annoying, but it does have a dot. So that automatically becomes 13.2.5 centimeters. I hope you guys are with me. So from the measurement of number 9, okay, now we have to extend this, right? Because now our number 11 has to fall on this line. So now from number 9, going with your ruler, now you can use any ruler for that matter, going in with your ruler, and you can also use your measuring tape for this one, but I prefer to work with my ruler. Okay, so I found my 13.2, and there we have it. So that becomes 11. This mark over here becomes number 11. So now midway between 9 and 11 on your shoulder length, which is going to be 6.6, midway, you're going to mark out over here, and you're gonna label that as 12, because this is where your dot is going to be. Okay, cool. So now from 12 going down using your L square ruler, now I'm going to use a pencil for this, right? You're going to create dotted lines of 5 centimeter going down, dotted, dot, dot, until you reach 5. So here's 5 centimeters over here. This is my 5 centimeter from 12 going down, straight down. Then from that 5 centimeter, I'm going to do a 1 centimeter distance. So I'm just going to mark this out with the marker actually. So this was my dotted line from 12, which is 5 centimeters. Now I made a dot heading in this direction in your left hand side. Yes, heading to the left, which is 1 centimeter. I hope you guys can see that. Let me just bring you guys closer so you guys can see that. But so from 12 until here, this is 5 centimeter. And then once you reach this 5 centimeter, to the left of that, you're going to put in a 1 centimeter distance, and then you're going to mark it out. That is where your dot is going to start. Okay, so your dot is 1 centimeter wide. So what you're going to do is you're going to mark out 0.5 on one side of 12 and 0.5 on the other side of 12. And then just going to use a ruler, and you're just going to create a little V to indicate your dot. And there you have it, guys. You have your first dot. This is the dot at the back. Okay? And that essentially becomes number 13. Yay! We still have a long way to go. So now we want to finish off. We're almost done with the back, guys. So now from number 2, we're going to number 2, the arm side, right? From number 2, we're going to try and find number 14. So number 14, essentially it becomes the back, the arm side back width, back depth. Yeah, I think that's what it said. So that becomes 17.7. So here's my 17, looking for my 0.7, and there it is. And then I mark that as number 14. Then here's the tricky part. We gotta square it up to this line, number 10's line, okay? So there we go. We're squaring it up to number 10. We are squaring it up to number 10. So that is number 14 right there. So this is 14, and the line that is intersected here becomes number 15. So now we're going to look for number 16. So number 16, one of the reasons why I'm showing you guys, because it's very important that you know this, but 16 essentially is midway between 14 and 15. So now we're going to go ahead and measure the distance. So I'm getting 18 centimeters, which is that distance. So that becomes 9. Now, only thing you have to do is just indicate it right here and write number 16. Okay? Awesome. Now let's move on to number 17. 17 is also important, but not really that important. But essentially, when you want to make more elaborate designs, then it's very important. So number 17 is also midway between 14 and 2, or 2 and 14. So now we got to look for our measurements. What does it say? So 17,7. So midway between 17,7. So that is 8,85. So I'm going to go in there and look for 8,85. That is midway between 2 and 14. So 8,85. And then you're just going to mark it here. And that becomes number 17 over here. And then you're going to create dotted lines, okay? So you're going to create dotted lines from 17 going all the way down to the hip line measurement, okay? So I'm just going to do this. And I'm just going to make mine very big, because just to show you guys, you can make your guys as big or as small as you want them to be. But essentially, this is going to be your dotted lines. So what do these lines indicate? So essentially, if you're ever going to do something maybe like a corset or anything that is even more close fitting than this pattern, then these become your dot lines. Yes, so these becomes your dot lines. So these are your guidelines essentially to your dots. So if you ever want to place a dot in a bodice or in a garment, then these lines will help you indicate where exactly should you put your dots so that your garment can sit nice and snatched. Just label these 18 over here where the waistline meets and intersects, and then by the hip line, that is number 19. Okay. Ooh, now let's go to the front. So now we're going to include our necklines of the front. So the first one is going to be the one from essentially your center to your shoulder. Well, yeah, essentially. But it's going to get a little bit tricky, but I want you guys to stay with me, okay? So first things first, 6,7. This is from 4 going in this direction, going to the left direction. So from 4, 6.7. So I'm going to go ahead and look for it. 6.7. Then I'm going to mark that 20. Okay. So that becomes 20 over here. From 4 to 20, it's 6.7. And then from 4 to 21, which is going... Okay, so I didn't realize that my camera cut because of space. But essentially, what I was saying is that
once
from
again,
4 to 21,
some weird-ish happens,
your measurement is
what I
going
was saying
to be
is that
7
from 4 to 21,
you mark it right,
your measurement
just
is
mark
going
it,
to
you
be
indicate
7.
it. Now, once again, remember
so
what I
you
said, when you
know.
have to draw
and also,
in your necklines,
when
to
you
make
carve it,
the
when you
circle
carve
or the curve
from
as smooth
21
as possible,
to 20, I'm so sorry that
go
it's frozen
ahead
right
and
now,
just
but when you carve from 21 to
1
20,
centimeter
right, especially from 21, you're
in
going to
from
have to
21,
put
yeah, 1
in a
centimeter
1
in from
centimeter
21.
distance into the thing into your pattern, like I did
I want
for the
centimeter going
neckline
down from
of
20.
the back
So
of the nape.
one reason why I'm
That way
saying this
it
is because it's
doesn't
going to help
create a
you
V
to
neck.
essentially
So
have
yeah,
a
I hope that
smooth
makes sense.
curve. Okay, so now from 3 to 2 to 22, you're going to put in the measurements 19,7. So from number 3 to 22, it's 19,7. So here's my 19, looking for my 0.7 right there. Just gonna mark it out there that this is 22. Okay, so that is 19.7 from 3 to 22, 19.7. Now you're gonna find your midway of from 3, the midway of 3 to 22, and that is 19,85, because that is half the measurement of 19,7. So 9,85. So there you're gonna mark it over here, and that essentially becomes 23. Now you're gonna want to look for number 24. Oh, sorry, that was my mistake. We're not looking for 24. So from 23, right? Let's pull this up a little bit. Let's try not to ruin the pattern. As you can see, there is a lot going on here. So from 23, you're going to square down, right? With dotted lines, because this is going to be the dot lines. So you're going to just wee, 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 wee. That becomes 24. This becomes 25. Got that? Good. Okay, now we're back up. So from 23, we are looking for our bust point. So from 23, going down, it is 2, going down to 2,5. Yeah, go down 2.5 centimeters. Just mark it there. This is number 26, and this is also your bust point. So that's where your boobies at. That's where the ladies' boobies at, okay? That's your bust point, okay? So you got that? That is number 26. You mark that down. Now we're going to go and look for number 27. So number 27 starts right from 20, essentially. Now, from 20, going to your left, 7 centimeters, and you mark that out, and you write 27. Yeah. Now, this is where it becomes interesting, because now you're going to create a little V, because this is going to be your dot. So this dot is the only dot in the book that, or in this pattern, where you really can't get rid of it. It's just stuck with you, okay? While these dot lines over here are essentially there to help you if you ever want to create dots in the future. So yeah, this is your dot line. So now we're looking for number 28. So 28 is actually from 11 going down. So from 11 going down by 1.5 centimeters. So you're going to do this. You're just going to mark it out. Don't really have to draw a line. You can just add a little dot there to indicate that this is number 28. But now you actually have to go ahead and square out at least by approximately 10 centimeters, but let's make it 11 just to be safe, and that becomes number 29. Okay, so remember I did state that your actual sleeve length, or your actual shoulder length is actually 12,27. So from 27 we are going to do our shoulder length, which is going to give us number 30, and that is going to be 12,25 centimeters. So from 27, and you have to end up on this line. So it has to end up on this line. So from there, 12,25. So there we go. I've got my 12. And I'm just going to mark it out like that. And that becomes 30. And then all you need to do is just draw a line from 27 to 30. And that becomes your shoulder. Your front shoulder. And there you guys have it. We are almost done. So now we are looking for number 31. Now 31 is a little bit tricky because actually you have to use your ruler and measure from 3 to 21 the distance. So I am getting 15, 8. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your 15,8 and you're going to find 1/3 of 15,8. So that is 5,26. So essentially 31 is actually from 22. So you're going to bring this down just a little bit. Then from 22, you're going to measure up 5,26. So 5, marked it here, 2, and just draw a little line. And that becomes number 31 right there. Okay, so now we're going to separate our front and our back. So from 22 to 14, you're going to find the midway of 22 to 14. So from my measurements, I am getting 11.2. 11.2, divide that by 2, that is 5,6. So 5.6. That becomes 32. Then you're just going to square down from there. Just square down. Then you mark this 33 and 34. So this officially becomes your back and this is your front. Now we get to the more interesting part and the final part of our actual tutorial. Yay! So from 14, right, you're just going to mark out over here lightly. You don't have to actually draw a line. You can just indicate 2.5. Just create a dot over here, and then from 22 you're going to create another one, but it's going to be 2 centimeters, just a little dot. This is to indicate where you can start curving. Now you really don't need a like the French curve ruler for this, but it's really not a bad idea to have one. So you're gonna carve. Okay. From 11 to 16, you're just going to curve in like this. And then from 30 to 31, you're just going to curve it in like this. And then essentially, what you want to do is you just want to make sure that you are touching this marks over here without actually creating corners. So what my lecturer likes to do is it's actually something that I haven't mastered myself, but she likes to go ahead in with a pencil and just curve it in herself. That way it's more organic, essentially. But essentially you just want to have a line that is a little bit more on the organic side. But obviously I'm not doing this well because I usually do it with a ruler, so I'm just going to try and do it with a ruler and see where it takes me. Go. And well, there you go. So essentially this is how your pattern ought to look like. And your pattern is done. So you can write here, ladies, close fitting bodice, right? Bodice block. This is size 12. Over here, you write center, back, and over here, you will put in center front. If you can see my face, don't judge me. It's late at night and I have to sleep, but I'm pre-pooing my hair, so yeah, relax. Then you're gonna write over here, ladies, close fitting bodice block, size 12. And then you can write your name. But essentially, this is how your pattern's gonna look like. And I really hope this was thorough. I think I tried to summarize it as best as I possibly could without making you guys do all the measuring and the divisions and the subtractions and the additions and all the other things. But let's take a closer look, okay? So there you have it. This is our back and this is our front. We have a dot and we have a dot. So this is how you identify a close fitting bodice. At least this is how you identify the ones that we do here in South Africa with CPUT. And these are dot indications, bus point. So I'm really hoping that the way I explained it actually makes sense to you guys. And if you want to see more patterns, then let me know in the comment sections. Don't forget to share, don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe. Toodles!